Welcome to another episode of Your Classical World. Today, we'll be reading a poem by ANacreon, a poet who lived in the 6th century BC. His poems often talk about drinking and love, and we'll note some interesting intersections with Homer and why they are important. Here's lines 1 through 11 of ANacreon fragment 357 to start us off. Eis Dionyson, to Dionysus. O Lord, you around whom love, the subduer, and the wide-eyed nymphs and shining Aphrodite play, upon the clouds or on the high mountain peaks, I beseech you that you'll be kind to me, and receive my prayer and think it one of grace. May Cleobulus be a good person, and have good counsel toward me, and, O Dionysus, may he accept my love. In the Greek, that's O naxo domales eros, kai num phai kuanopides, poi pure ta prodite, sum pais tu sin epistrepe, duipselon oreon corrupas, gu nu maise sudeo menes. Eltois moi kekaris menes teo kolei sapakuon, cleobuloi dagatos geneo, sum bulos tonemon geroto deonuse dekestai. This poem is a love poem. It survives after antiquity as an example of what not to do when calling upon the gods. The writer from whom we received this quotation, Dio Chrysostomon, a philosopher and orator of the Second Sophistic, which took place around the 1st to 2nd centuries AD, is quoting ANacreon to describe how a king should not supplicate the gods. That ANacreon's manner is too light, subjugated, and not befitting of one in power. Indeed, for a scholar like Dio, the dignified Homeric language throughout the passage is jarring versus the personalization of the request sent to Dionysus, the god of wine. Epistrephei, among the clouds, is a Hesiotic word, used in the Theogony at line 753. The sequence that just follows it, hup selas oreon korupas, on the high peaks of mountains, is found in the Iliad several times. The same goes for kekaris mene, or to be received well, or acceptable. The diction used by ANacreon is epic, which denotes a more sincere and impersonal context. To borrow these words for poetic expression of love, of supplication, as we hear in this poem, is, while beautiful, not the character-building exercise that Dio imagined befits a king. Indeed, the meter of the poem is a more lyrical Aeolic, versus the regular, ordinal, and recited hexameters of Homeric epic. Instead of continual dactyls, the swaying, emotional force of the glyconic and ferocration are used. Let's consider an example of the latter two, the lyric meters, which can be heard in the first 3 lines, and the dactylic hexameter heard in the last 3 just below them in this image, from lines 400 to 402 of the Iliad's 17th book. O naxo damales eros, long, 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 short, short, long, short, long. Kai num vai kuano pides, long, 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 short, short, long, short, long. And then por pure ta prodite, and da 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 da. Toions deos epipatro cloian dron te kai hippon, matitoia ta nu sekakon ponon u darapoti, de patro clonteth ne otatios Achilleus. There is a contextual shift that the ANacreon poem has made by using lyric meters, rather than epic hexameter, which the vocabulary that borrows from epic poems like the Theogony, Iliad, and Odyssey would contrast with. These signifiers demonstrate the communicability of genre throughout the Greek poetic corpus, and even asks us to define what we mean by lyric meters at all. After all, just because the meters are different in the ANacreon and may better fit the performance of individual song at a symposium or small group context, Homer was also quoted in symposia all the time, so maybe they could have been made to sound the same depending on the style of delivery or accompanying music. But as a primary takeaway, we can recognize that this classification is at least possible because of the quantitative nature of the Greek language, which contrasts the stress accent we hear in German, French, or English. Those long syllables will always be long, and short syllables are always short. This beautiful expression of love in the poem is made richer once we realize that it is using the structures of a song heritage that goes back hundreds, if not thousands of years. Homeric language is not confined to Homer, and although Dio may believe that makes you less of a king for saying so in the Symposium, it is still a beautiful work of art, and ironically enough, survives to be much more famous than the rhetorician's speech because of his chastisement of the very work through his citation of it. Thanks for watching, and subscribe for more videos on how we can read deeply into ancient poetry and the classical world.